thunder of jets in an open sky, a streak of gray, and a cheerful...
A loop, a whirl, and a vertical climb, and once again you'll know it's time for the adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and friends.
Starring that supersonic speedster, Rocket J. Squirrel, with his pal Bullwinkle the Moose, and a host of others.
Hurry, Bullwinkle! The show's about to start!
I'm coming as fast as I can.
Wave to the people!
Yay!
Now what are you doing?
Signing autographs. Let's see. John Smith.
But your name is Bullwinkle!
I know, but that's hard to spell.
We're gonna have a lot of fun! Come on and join us!
Sure, there's always room for one more.
Well, it looks as if our heroes have finally melted the myth of the abominable snowman. The awesome creature turned out to be the two moon men, Gidney and Cloyd, in disguise.
I thought it would be a funny joke.
Funny, it was a panic.
But when the moon men learned that Rocky and Bullwinkle were going to return the mooseberry bush to the USA, their faces fell.
That means we can't make the rocket fuel from it. And we'll never get to go home again.
It was then that Rocky made his decision.
Bullwinkle, I'm gonna send Gidney and Cloyd back to the moon!
And let down the entire US of A?
No, wait! I got a plan! But first we have to get back home!
Well, that was easier said than done, for at that moment their nemesis, Boris Badenov, was receiving his latest set of instructions right across the head.
So you have failed again, Bedinov.
But fearless leader, the snowman
You
was
left your post.
100 feet high.
Deserted in face of enemy.
3 sets of teeth.
Didn't get mooseberries.
All sharp.
Didn't get rid of moose and squirrel.
Like razor blade. Hit me with that last one again.
Didn't get rid of moose and squirrel.
But we did.
Boris!
Shut up, Natasha.
You got rid of moose and squirrel?
Would I forget such a thing? I might be coward, turncoat, double-crosser, but I'm not sloppy.
They are kaput?
Of course.
But Boris!
Natasha, we left them with snowmen. What do you think happened to them? That's right.
If moose and squirrel were still alive, your life wouldn't be worth a plugged kopeck.
Of course.
Good job, Bedinov. Have cigar.
Thank you, fearless leader.
You can call me FL.
And the triumphant Boris and Natasha made their way to the exit of the underground headquarters of Central Control.
Push up manhole cover, darling.
I can't. Somebody's standing on it.
Hey, you got the hiccups, Bullwinkle?
No, must be an earthquake.
Boris, you hear that?
Is the moose, that indestructible nitwit.
Something wrong, Bedinov?
No, not at all, they fell.
Then open manhole.
Is somebody standing on it? Let's wait till later, eh? How about next summer?
Out of way, Bedinov. I open it.
And open it he did, for at that time Bullwinkle was no longer standing on the cover.
This is your idea of joke, Bedinov?
Of course not, FL.
Fearless leader to you, Bedinov.
Yes, fearless leader.
And give me my cigar.
And the head of the spy ring made his exit, leaving a badly shaken Boris.
What's going to happen if he sees moose and squirrel alive?
Well, you're in hot water again, darling.
I'm always in hot water. I'm beginning to feel like teabag. Oh, Natasha, why I couldn't be a successful villain?
Cheer up, Boris. To me, you will always be a dirty, double-crossing skunk.
Oh, Natasha, you always know the right thing to say.
Meanwhile, our heroes were having their own troubles.
We want 4 tickets on the first boat leaving Pennsylvania.
All right, what's so doggone hilarious?
You crazy fools! Everybody wants to leave Pennsylvania.
Sure enough, every dock, airport, and train station was simply jammed with people trying to get out of Pennsylvania. and they were all ahead of Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Doggone it, first they say Yankee go home, then they won't let us leave.
Well, it looks as if our heroes are in Pottsylvania to stay. Be sure to see our next episode, The Pottsylvania Permanent, or I've Grown Accustomed to the Place.
Pardon me, Sonny, but can you tell me where I can find that eminent philosopher, Aesop?
Well, what's up, Dad? Going to a Halloween party?
Huh?
I said, what's up, Dad?
Never mind, Junior. I was hoping you wouldn't recognize me.
I'd know you anywhere, Pop.
Well, the reason for this disguise was to illustrate today's parable. To wit, appearances often are deceiving. Clever?
Clever.
Yeah, well, this brings to mind the fable of the wolf in sheep's clothing. In the forest lived Al Wolf. He was a husband-type wolf. He happened to have a wife-type wolf, and they were expecting, or rather she was, a baby-type wolf.
Anything I can get you, dear? Like, pickles? Chocolate-covered sesame seeds?
I ain't in the mood for none of those things, Al.
Well, you must have a craving for something.
Well, if you must know, I have an urge irresistible for a roast lamb.
Anxious to obey her slightest whim, Al Wolf adjourned to the nearest butcher shop.
Okay, what'll it be?
Let me have a leg of lamb to go.
Sorry, sir, we're fresh out of lamb. How about some bologna?
Wife wants lamb.
In that case, try the serve-yourself machine over there.
They got lamb in there?
Yeah, they got everything. What'd you get?
Package of cigarettes.
Tough luck. Must be a short in the machine. I tell you what, I'll trade you the cigarettes for the bologna.
Look, my wife wants... How about that?
5 minutes later, the wolf was back home.
This is lamb?
That's what it says. Lamb.
You know what this says?
Rolling pin.
Right. You give me the lamb, I'll give you the rolling pin. I said lamb, and I mean lamb.
Al Wolf decided to eliminate the middleman and go to the basic product itself. Unfortunately, said basic product had a basic element of danger.
Wouldn't you know to be a sheepdog guarding them sheeps? Hey. Oh, well, maybe he'll see things my way. Pardon me, sir.
Having tried the honest method, he resorted to the dishonest method.
Lucky, lucky, lucky! Step right up here and win yourself a fortune. Around and round she goes. There where she stops. Only I know.
What's the big idea, Wolf?
The big idea, Rover, is this. So you pick a number, I spin a wheel. Your number comes up, you got to shoot me. Again. Your number don't come up, I win a sheep.
Okay, 2,369.
That the number you want?
That's it.
Look, Spot, the wheel only goes as high as 100.
2,369.
Yeah, that's what I like. Faith. Well, here she goes. Ever had the feeling you was in the wrong business?
Most wolves are persistent, and this one was no exception. He decided to tunnel his way into the center of the flock and make off with a lamb.
Well, I guess I outwolfed him this time. A sheep! A sheep! I finally got it. A mistake here. This ain't no sheep, it's a doll. Sounds like this doll swallowed a clock. Hey, what do you know, an alarm clock? And it's even got a second hand.
This wolf was long on persistency, although short on other commodities.
There must be some way of getting the sheep. But as long as I look like a wolf, that sheepdog ain't gonna...
And suddenly a bold and daring plan took shape. Moments later, high atop a craggy cliff, what appeared to be a lost lamb was pitifully bleating for help. Needless to say, the sheepdog wasted not a second in effecting a timely rescue. The errant lamb was returned to the flock.
Hot dog! or should I say hot lamb.
However, before he could strike,
Okay, George, if we're gonna shear these sheep, we better get started. And we'll start with this one.
Hey, wait a minute. You guys are making a faux pas. See, I'm a sheep in wolf's clothing. I'm a... Yow!
I thought you was just gonna get a trim.
This ain't no haircut, Myrna, honey. You see what this is sheer bad luck. It all began...
Where's the lamb, Elbate?
This sheepdog, was a real nemesis, so let me tell you.
The lamb, Elbate!
I'll bring you some chocolate-covered pickles, dill.
thus Al Wolf was forced to take it on the lamb instead of dining on one. Tragic, no?
A real tearjerker, Pop.
But at least we have a moral somewhere. And now, what did I do with it? I had it with me when I left.
How's this? Always be alert, whether awake or asleep. Good?
Yeah, not bad, Junior. Not bad at all.
And now for all you knowledge seekers, here's Mr. Know-It-All.
Hi there! Today's subject is how to open a jar of pickles. The simplest way to open a jar of pickles is to unscrew the lid, turning gently from left to right. Oh! If that doesn't work, turn it right to left. Oh! Well, there are other ways of opening it. Putting the jar under hot water will usually do the trick, and if you happen to be in Yellowstone Park, the best hot water comes up out of Old Faithful the geyser. You place the jar right over the hole, taking care to be well clear before the geyser goes... When you get out of the hospital, you take a slightly different approach.
I got the hammer, Mr. Know-It-All.
Splendid, splendid! When the lid is tapped, it is certain to loosen. Now, when I nod my head, you hit it with the hammer.
Right, Bullwinkle. Huh?
I think I made that perfectly clear. I said, when I nod my head, hit it with the hammer.
If you say so.
Okay, I nod thusly and... If everything else fails, we climb to an altitude of 5,000 feet and hurl the jar and ourselves earthward. Pocahontas! But if you really want to open a jar of pickles...
Wait a minute, Mr. Know-It-All. That isn't a jar of pickles. That's a jar of jelly.
No wonder I couldn't open it. It's jammed.
And now...
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat. See? Nothing up my sleeve. Presto! Wrong hat.
And now it's time to meet Mr. Peabody.
Peabody here. You're just in time to join Sherman and me on another journey into history.
What year shall I set the Wayback Machine for, Mr. Peabody?
1191, Sherman.
And the place?
The Holy Land, where we look in on the Crusades led by that indestructible English monarch, Richard the Lionhearted. The Wayback transported Sherman and me to our destination, but as luck would have it, we arrived in the midst of a battle royal between the Saracens and the English. However, it was a battle of short duration.
Golly, Mr. Peabody, all of a sudden everybody stopped fighting.
I beg your pardon, soldier, but has the enemy surrendered?
Oh, no, it's merely tea time. We always stop for our afternoon tea.
Taking advantage of the brief recess, Sherman and I proceeded to seek out King Richard. It wasn't until we came across a regal tent at the rear of the lines that we heard...
You dared to attack the King of England, do you? Well, take that. And that!
Sounds like King Richard's in trouble.
We entered, but saw no signs of the enemy.
Arm yourselves if you value your lives.
But who are you fighting?
Him.
Good heavens, a mouse.
Yes. I was halfway through my Roquefort when the monster attacked.
Couldn't you scare him off?
Me scare him?
Surely your Majesty is not afraid of mice.
Mice, fish, canaries, people, buildings, trees. You name it, I'm afraid of it.
But why do they call you lion-hearted?
A misnomer. Actually, I'm chicken-hearted.
I would imagine that the war is going badly.
Oh, yes. So far, I've lost 2 wedges of Roquefort, a slice of Limburger.
Not your war, Your Highness. The war outside.
Oh, that one. Yes, I wonder how it's going.
We soon found out.
Bad news, Your Grace!
Out with it, man. Are we retreating?
Worse than that, we've run out of tea.
That is bad news.
The situation called for an urgent meeting between Richard and his chiefs of staff.
I say we should call the whole thing off. We're running low on crumpets.
Gentlemen, I have a plan that would end the war in 1 hour.
Wizard. Absolutely wizard. What is your plan?
Who leads the Saracens?
Saladin.
Then you meet Saladin on the field of battle. Whoever wins, wins the war. How does that strike you?
Unconscious.
We adjourned to a practice area where I drilled Richard in the art of medieval warfare. This is a crossbow, sire. You merely pull the trigger and release the arrow in the direction of your opponent.
You mean like this?
Yes, like that. Of course, your aim was bad.
I see what you mean.
Next, I instructed him in the handling of a mace.
You mean you want me to smash that dummy with this?
Exactly. Pretend it's Saladin.
Oh, I can't do it. I'm much too much of a coward.
You must force yourself, sire. Now swing, swing hard. And swing he did, launching a most prodigious blow.
Couldn't I challenge Saladin to a game of parcheesi or something?
No, you have to fight him. I guess you'll have to use this magic sword.
Magic sword, Mr. Peabody?
Yes. Don't you remember, Sherman? This piece of steel was fashioned by a dervish in Damascus. Whosoever wieldeth it possesses the courage of 20 lions.
You mean if I fight Saladin with his sword, I can't lose?
Precisely.
Psst. Is it really a magic sword?
Of course not, Sherman, but it may give him confidence. And so King Richard faced the fierce Saladin, and although Saladin was a master swordsman, when the smoke cleared...
Yay! Long live the king!
Later, inside Richard's tent, I disclosed the truth about the so-called magic sword.
I don't believe it.
It's true, Your Grace. Look at the inscription. Made in Japan, not Damascus.
Oh, that's wonderful.
You mean your victory over Saladin?
Oh, no. The fact that I can now look a goldfish in the eye without flinching.
Thus, from that day forward, Richard lived up to the name Lion-Hearted. In fact, he never took a walk without at least 2 lions on a leash. Yes, Richard was lion-hearted, all right. But of course, he was no fool.
Last time, you remember, our heroes and the Moon Men discovered that they couldn't leave Pottsylvania because everybody else in the country wanted to get out, too. As a result, our boys found themselves at the end of a waiting line a mile long.
But why do all these people want to leave?
Why are you going?
Well, let's be nice and say we just despise the place.
So do they.
Well, when's the next train leave?
Hard to tell.
Why?
Somebody stole the tracks.
Gee, this looks bad, Rocky.
You mean we're stuck here in Pottsylvania? Gee, how are we ever gonna get out?
Look there! That's how!
Tick-tock taxi company, 2 drivers, no waiting.
Oh, boy, a taxi cab! Quick, climb in! I wonder why they call this the Tick-Tock Taxi Company.
Rocky wouldn't have asked if he'd been able to see under the back seat, for the entire rear of the taxi was one big time bomb. Oh, who could have played such a fiendish trick on our friend?
2 guesses.
Well, it looks as if Boris and Natasha are really in the driver's seat at last.
But not for long.
How come we're stopping, Rocky?
I don't know. Hey, what's the trouble?
We got split king bolt in manifold housing.
That's bad?
Bad! If we don't get a new one, we'll strip the sleeve bushing right down to the gasket seal.
Yeah, that happened to an uncle of mine once.
For how long will it take to get a new one?
All depends, but don't worry. You won't have to wait long.
Come on, Spike.
And the two spies sped off down the road, leaving our friends gathered around that highly explosive taxi.
Hey, what's that ticking sound? Must be the taxi meter. What taxi meter? Oh, come now, Gidney. Every taxi has a meter. Not this one.
Of course it does. And we gotta turn it off.
Yeah, or this ride'll cost us a fortune.
Must be here somewhere.
It's not in front, Bullwinkle. Not in here either.
When it goes off, Boris.
Any second now.
It's not underneath, Rocky.
Not in the trunk, neither.
But I can still hear it ticking.
Well, I give up.
Bullwinkle, look out!
Too late. Bullwinkle's weight had started the taxi running back down the road, and as our friends watched, it careened out of sight behind a hill. An instant later, there was a tremendous explosion, followed by a cloud of black smoke, followed by Boris and Natasha.
Bullwinkle, the taxi cab exploded. You know what that means?
Yeah, it means we'll never know how much we owe.
No, it means somebody's out to get us.
But why? We haven't done anything. Maybe that's the trouble.
Well, anyway, we're stuck here in Pennsylvania again.
Not necessarily, Rocky. Look there.
Sure enough, a little farther ahead, a sentry stood guard beside a barrier that stretched across the road.
Oh, boy, a railroad station.
No, Bullwinkle, that's the border.
I was wondering where the tracks were. But who's that feller with the gun?
That's a sentry.
Boy, he sure needs a haircut.
That's his hat.
Well, he certainly has a tall head.
You moon-men got your papers ready?
We don't need any, Rocky.
Everybody needs papers to cross Pennsylvania border. Lots and lots of papers.
Not us.
Why not you?
'Cause we're not in Pennsylvania.
You're not?
No, we're across the border.
Hey, you couldn't do that.
But we just did.
Well, maybe you did, but your friends stay here permanent.
And the angry sentry raised his rifle and pointed it directly at our heroes. Don't miss our next episode, The Boundary Bounders, or Some Like It Shot.
It looks as if our time has just about run out.
Just enough left to tell him who the sponsor was.
You got the credits, Bullwinkle?
All on this itty-bitty card. Oop.
Bullwinkle.
Right.
Bye now. See you next time.